All right, we're going to talk about compound inequalities. And first off, what is a compound inequality? A compound inequality is an inequality that is formed by joining two inequalities with the word and or or. All right, with an and, our solutions must be true for both. Okay, and just making sure we understand this. So our graph will be the overlapping section. With an or, our solutions have to be true for at least one of them. So we will have a graph that does not overlap typically. So looking at and inequalities, okay? So I've got the inequality x is greater than 2 and x is less than 5. Okay, this down here is another way we can write this. Sorry, less than or equal to 5. So looking at the graphs, let's just kind of look at what this would look like. All right, x greater than 2. I've got, and we'll put my 0 and 2 here. Okay, got an open circle at 2. Actually, let me do something real quick. We're going to shift down. All right. Okay, so we've got an open circle at 2, and since it's greater than, we're going to shade to the right. Okay, looking at x less than 5. Well, or less than and equal to. I've got a closed circle. Excuse my bad drawing on this circle. Okay. Got a closed circle at 5, and it's going to be less than. So now when we're talking about an and, right? Well, that means one thing and the other, right? You have to have both. So when we're looking at this graphically, well, I need both things to be true. Okay? Which means that my graph is going to be the overlapping section, because that's the only area where everything is going to be greater than 2 but also less than 5. Okay, and or, well, I've got y less than or equal to -2. And I've got y, or y is greater than 1. So let's look at y less than or equal to 2. What would that graph look like? Well, it's a closed circle. Closed circle shaded to the left. Okay, y greater than 1 is an open circle shaded to the right. Now with or, we don't have to have both true. So my graph is not going to be overlapping. They're going to look kind of like they're going opposite directions. Okay. So there's your difference between your and your or. And both have to be true, or one or the other. Okay, so and will be my overlapping area, right? Because those are the only numbers that are going to be greater than 2 and less than or equal to 5. Okay, with our or, one or the other has to be true. So we can go both directions. All right, so let's say okay, if we let L represent, we're going to talk about writing them, sorry. All right, so now let's talk about looking at a graph and writing them from a graph. If we let L represent the left point, either our start point or our end point, and R represent our right start or end point, then this is how we would generally write. Okay, if I do an and, I'm going to do my left point less than X, less than my right side, or if I've got equal to, depending on my, and we can do a combination of those as well. And or will be X less than the left, or X greater than the right side. Okay, and again, we could have the equal to in there as well. So that's going to be our general format. All right, so let's look at a couple of these. So what I'm going to start looking at is what are my endpoints? Okay, these two right here, -1 and 3. Now, since it's the overlapping area, I know it's going to be an and. So I've got -1. Okay, we know that has to be less than. Now, since it's closed circle, it's also less than or equal to. Okay. And then I'm going to put my X, my variable, in the middle. That's going to be less than or equal to, in this case, because we have a closed circle, 3. We could also look at this and try and write it as two separate inequalities if it's confusing you looking at the both. Okay, just start with your left side. What is my inequality there? Well, I want X greater than -1, right? And I want X less than or equal to 3. And then it's just a matter of putting them together in this format. And then really we just flipped this inequality so that way its variable is on the right side. All right, let's look at another one. I've got 2 here. Now I don't have overlapping, so this is an or inequality. So we're going to work the left side first. Well, x is less than or equal to, because we have a closed circle, -3, or x is, well, okay, have an open circle, so it's going to be greater than, because it's shaded to the right, 0.